In today's adventure of an episode, we're reading about some more entitled people. Gonna be a beautiful and concerning episode, and I hope you guys are excited. And with that being said, enjoy. My cousin's jealousy blew up in her face. My 28 male cousin Mary, 22 female, grew to be an extremely jealous person in her teens. We've all hoped that she'd grow out of it, but she hasn't, and she refuses to address it. When I proposed to my husband Sean a couple of years ago, Mary threw a fit. She wanted to be the first to get married between the two of us. She deserved it. She didn't even have a boyfriend. Because Sean and I chose to have a small personal wedding, we were able to use money set aside for us to buy a home and pay off half of the mortgage. Cue another tantrum from Mary despite the fact that there's money set aside for her too, including from our grandparents and Aunt Miranda, who chose not to have children. I think you can get the picture here. If I have something Mary doesn't, she wants it. If I accomplish something before her, it's not fair. It doesn't matter if she's younger than me by 6 years and I'd naturally reach some goals before her. There's just no logic in her tantrums. This brings us to Miranda's annual New Year's party. There's always food and drinks and games. It's a fun night where we can get wasted safely with family and friends if we want to, especially since there are no kids in the family at the moment. When I was returning from the bathroom, I saw Sean looking extremely uncomfortable and trying to fend off Mary, who was sitting much too close to him on the couch. I managed to overhear her telling him that women are much better than men and insisting he'd try with her because he didn't know what he was missing. What? Now Sean is 100% gay, so this was just pathetic for her, but I was seeing red over the fact that she was attempting to ruin our marriage to satisfy her jealousy. I said, if women are so great, then date a woman instead of trying to get my gay husband to sleep with you. The entire room heard this. I did not control my volume. Party ruined. The family has spared us from most of the chaos that followed, but today we found out that the money that was set aside for her is no longer for her. The tuition to pay for the remaining classes for her bachelor's degree has been refunded to our grandparents since spring classes haven't started yet. All the money from her parents is going to her younger brother, and all the money from our grandparents and Miranda is going to be distributed between him and myself. She's getting nothing. She's also been given 3 months to find a new place to live because her parents don't want her living under their roof. She was given a massive leg up just like I was, and she screwed herself out of it. I almost feel sorry for her. Almost. Okay, I don't. Oh, that's so gross. And yet that's what you get when you act like this. Like, oh my god, being an a-hole has consequences. Yeah, who would have thought? The top comment says, "By spared us from most of the chaos that followed." I assume that you mean you left the party. I wonder if she said some stuff that hurt other people too, hence the disinheritance, to be a fly on the wall of that room. And OP says, yeah, we left. Sean was more than ready to go, and my dad was urging us to leave while my uncle was still managing to put a lid on his anger. I'm not really sure if she managed to get a word in, but this stunt of hers was the last straw. Yeah, mess around and find out, you know? You can't really feel sorry for somebody like this. They brought all of this on themselves with their actions. Entitled friends asking us to sell my husband's car. English is not my first language and I'm on mobile. So this story happened around 7 years ago. My husband D, age 35 male, and I, 31 female, were dating for a year. He was invited to a wedding of two of his friends from uni. For the story, they'll be EG, 34 male, and EB, 33 female. EG was actually my husband's roommate for a year, and from what he told me, they were very close and they were friends with his parents too. So my husband asked me to +1 to the wedding. We went, and it was a wedding where no money was saved. It was in the garden of an expensive hotel, like Hilton, and with a full course meal, lots of drinks, etc. We were seated to a table far away from the bride and groom, not close to the family and friends tables also. My husband also didn't know anybody on the table. I was a bit irked, but my husband is a bit naive. So we gave our gifts and we danced, had overall a good time. After the wedding, we learnt that the couple went to the Maldives for a month as their honeymoon. 2 weeks after the honeymoon, one of the friends, EG, calls my husband and asks for a loan. He says that his father's company is not going well, and due to some tax reasons, his father named EG as the owner, so he's in a lot of debt. His wife also doesn't have any savings because they just bought her a car. My husband tells him that he doesn't have much either. He can only spare €1,000 but no more. EG tells him to sell his car and then give them the money. What? My husband comes and asks my opinion. He says they're in a bad place, etc. I'm like, the audacity they have. And of course, I explained to him they shouldn't have such an expensive wedding if they've got money problems, and why don't they sell their own car? In the end, he didn't give them any money, and we never heard from them again. It still puzzles me though. How can you be so entitled to ask somebody to sell their car to pay your debt? Yeah, oh my god, they are not friends. That's hilarious in an awful sort of way. Like, oh yeah, just sell your car and give me the money you sell it for. How about no, buddy? Yeah, the bloody audacity. Entitled boss thought she'd rip me off. This happened several years ago when I picked up a part-time job working at the mall. I'd started working at a kiosk in the mall selling t-shirts, bowl caps, golf balls, etc. They had a catchphrase, shut up and, varied from sport to sport. They sold well, but the owner had a personality of a nut bar. I worked a late shift until the mall closed, Monday to Friday. I showed up one afternoon for my shift and the boss woman was there, and I proceeded to put on my smock and get ready to take over. When she told me that she didn't need me that day, no notice, no nothing, I asked her when I should come back in, and she said that she was unsure. It happened to be payday, so I asked for my check, and she said that she hadn't done it up yet, but it would be ready the next day. So I left and I came back the next afternoon to collect the paycheck. She still didn't have it ready, and I'd have to come back again. This was not sitting well with me, so I went to the police in the mall and I asked them what to do. The police didn't have a lot to say, but said management at the mall might shut them down if they don't pay. I checked with mall management and they told me that I should say Revenue Canada, so I phoned Revenue Canada, made an appointment, and I went in a few days later. Revenue Canada was really helpful. I explained the whole thing to them, told them which mall this was at, and they made phone calls to the mall. Mall management cooperated, gave the names of the business, name of the owners, bank information, and everything. They went into the bank and they froze the account, and then we all drove to the mall. They came and shut the business down, took all the inventory and spoke to the owner. She handed me a check and I showed it to the Revenue Canada agent. They took it and photocopied it. She'd apparently deducted so much money for the past 2 weeks of work, all in income tax. The revenue agent set up another appointment with me for the next week at their office. They took the income tax overture I paid and made sure it was turned into a credit so I wouldn't have to pay more. Then they told me they're auditing them for 7 years, which effectively bankrupted them. It made my day, and many mall workers were smiling when they found out. It was definitely a mess around and find out moment. Wow, good job, OP. Yeah, like the top comment says, well done, OP. You probably saved the next employee a good deal of trouble. Yeah, definitely. And it is a mess around and find out situation. Like, yeah, you're doing stuff like this, there are going to be consequences. Fun episode today. I hope you guys are enjoying. Future sister-in-law demands I make a kid who isn't related to her be my flower girl. I have no idea where to begin, but here it goes. I, 21 female, am getting married in a few weeks. First of all, congratulations. Well, a while back I asked my sister-in-law Sadie, female 25, to be my bridesmaid. My fiance warned me that she could be intense and I was under no obligation to include her in the wedding party, but she had been nice enough and I wanted to have a certain number of bridesmaids. I'm now regretting my decision. Sadie has a boyfriend, Kyle, 19 male. Kyle has partial custody of his ex's infant daughter. Not sure why, considering he's not related to her, but I never asked. Recently, Sadie has been on my case about picking a flower girl. I really want it to be my friend's daughter since I have a fantastic relationship with her and was actually in the room for her birth. I even refer to her as my niece. Sadie, however, didn't take this well. When I told her, she blew up and started ranting about how she'll ruin the pictures. My niece is neurodivergent and tends to get overstimulated when standing for long periods, so photos may be a challenge for her. I tried to explain to Sadie that my niece was practically family, and me and her mother have been making a plan to ensure that the photos won't be overwhelming for her. Sadie then took the opportunity to suggest Kyle's daughter. I explained to her that I was in the delivery room when my niece was born, and I wanted her to be a part of my big day since my fiance proposed. I thought that was that until about 2 weeks ago. I got a special dress for my niece that looks like a cross between my dress and my bridesmaid dresses. I was showing it to my family when Sadie gives me a gift bag. Inside was an identical dress but for a baby. Sadie then confessed to snooping around my laptop to find the dress I chose for my flower girl and took the opportunity to order one for her boyfriend's daughter. She then said that both girls could be a part of my special day. Oh my god, what's your issue, Sadie? When I said no, she started screaming at me because it was bad enough that her boyfriend wasn't a groomsman and that I should want him to be a part of the family, especially since my wedding was for the whole family, not just me. She called me a selfish bridezilla and stormed out. I was able to calm her down by suggesting Cole's daughter have a special dance with me at the reception. This seemed to diffuse the situation and my fiance apologized for not clearly communicating just how crazy she can get. Everybody is telling me that it isn't my fault, but I have to know, am I the bad apple? Update: Sadie was disinvited from the family by my fiance due to how she treated me, and when her mum, fiance's stepmom, got upset, he disinvited her too. I got a message that was from Kyle's ex threatening to sue me if I let her baby be the flower girl. Sadie told her that she would be the flower girl. I'm looking into high security and maybe changing the venue without telling her so she won't cause any trouble. Wow, that's so much worse than I thought it was going to be. And good on your fiance for stepping up and disinviting them. That was a really satisfying ending. Like, yeah, Yeah, they're completely unhinged and they should not be there. Disinviting is definitely the right move. Even the stuff about how they got the dress made, and they're trying to tell you how you should do everything at your own wedding when you've told them so many different times what you want to do, and they're not respecting that. They've shown so many different red flags. And yeah, I hope you have a good wedding, OP. Congratulations again. Carry on baggage. A short one, but something I'd never seen or heard of before. I was boarding a 6-hour international flight. I sat down in my seat and I found a backpack under the seat in front of me, where my bag and leg should go. My first thought was somebody left it from the previous flight. The second thought was something related to finding unattended baggage in an airport, but my first action was to tap the shoulder of the guy in front of me, who was already sitting down, to ask if he saw anybody put the bag there. He told me it's his bag. I again thought he's probably new to flying, so I told him he's supposed to put it under the seat in front of him. Finally, the sentence that surprised me, "Oh, I know, but then it gets in the way of my legs, so I'll leave it where it is, so it's your problem now." A quick, "Excuse me, I found this bag in the seat here," to the flight attendant, and it was very quickly resolved, but he was unhappy about it. Mind you, from the time the aircrew sat down to take off, he instantly reclined his seat and left it there for the entire flight just to get me back, even during meal service, and refused to put it up when asked by the flight attendant. So I guess he still won? Nah, they did not win, OP. Or like if they won this, they didn't win much else because they're a mean person. Like the post we read the other day when the people were kicking the back of their seat, so they poured their water over all their stuff. I definitely could have seen this situation going in a similar direction. Okay, we've got an update post. Customer demands my personal cell number and blames me for losing his job. So we read this post the other day and this is an update. Hello everybody. For anybody who hasn't read my prior post, you can read it here. I appreciate all the support that I've received so far, and I did get a few messages requesting an update. As I expected, the quiet didn't last long, and the customer was indeed a ticking time bomb. The shop got me the info I needed to complete an estimate for repairs, and the owner explained that he expects that he'll most likely find additional damages that he'll contact me for once he knows. He again apologized for his niece's behavior when I called the shop the first time, and stated that he's no longer friends with the customer. SIU did review the claim, and they stated there wasn't enough evidence of fraud, so no dice. I texted the customer to see if he wanted me to issue payment to him or the shop directly. He immediately demanded I call him as he didn't agree to the estimated amount. A bit of information on how the auto claims process works for payment. Number 1, insurance company creates an initial estimate based on what they can see of the damages. Number 2, insurance pays an initial amount to get the ball rolling. And 3, the shop and insurance stay in contact so that additional payment can be issued as needed through the process, as the shop finds additional or internal damages that might not have been super apparent initially. Sounds simple enough, right? Not for the customer. He starts talking about how the estimate for the shop is $7,000 and we're paying $6,500. I let him know that we're happy to work with the shop to issue further payment as needed, and explain that shop estimates are based on what they expect to see for the full repairs, and insurance pays what they can see and confirm. Not to mention, to keep insurance prices down for our customers, we try to negotiate costs with the shop to ensure that what we pay is reasonable. Before I can even get 2 words out, he interrupts me and starts yelling, saying how I lost his job and that I'm now denying his claim since I'm refusing to pay the amount that the shop demands. I explain again that we aren't denying the claim, but this is the first of multiple payments that we will be issuing, and I need to know where to send the payment. I tell him that if he keeps talking to me like that, I'm gonna end the call. His response, "Oh, of course you will." No self-awareness and no apology, acting like a toddler when he's nearly 40. I continue trying to explain, but he decides to keep talking over me and yelling at me. He starts to say crap about me as a person and my family, and I interrupt and state, "Do you want to finish that sentence of this recorded line for who knows how many people to hear?" He stops, thinks, and then tells me that he hopes that my husband sexually assaults me and leaves me. What? I recently got married, and IT is in the process of changing my name in the system, so some of my systems show my new name and some show my maiden name. It causes a lot of confusion, and so I have to explain it a lot while waiting for the updates. I had to explain it to this customer as well, so he knew fully well he was saying this to a newlywed. Oh, that's disgusting. And I'll admit, I kinda snapped a bit. I left my tour guide Barbie voice behind real quick. I said, "Sir, during this entire claims process, your attitude has gotten in the way of your repairs. The way that you've acted to me, my co-workers, and the employees at the shop is absolutely deplorable, and you should be ashamed. You haven't said a kind word to me at all, and you've been a nightmare to work with. Now you say awful things about my personal life, like I explained on Friday was absolutely none of your business when you demanded my cell phone number, and now you insult my husband, who you've never even talked to and know nothing about. My husband is 10 times the man you ever will be, while being nearly half your age, and he knows how to treat people with respect, even if he is in a stressful or difficult situation. situation. I feel awful for your wife if this is the type of man she has to deal with at home. At least my husband doesn't have to force me to do the horizontal mumbo with him, but it's telling that that's where your mind went to. Maybe you should mind your own home before you stick your nose in somebody else's. Wow, good on you for standing up for yourself, OP. He chucked a few more expletives at me, but I ended the call because I just don't get paid enough. He again called my customer service team and made the poor woman cry. I took the call again and I explained to him that he was now on written communication with me. He could call the customer service center later, but I would never answer his calls again, and I will only respond to his emails or text messages. I then disconnected the line again. I thought that was the end of it, but turns out he still had my supervisor's contact information from when she called on Monday, so he called her up. She called me after she finished on the phone with him, and she gave me a summary. He apparently told her that I accused him of sexual assault to his wife after he questioned the estimate that I wrote. I don't even write estimates. That's a whole other department. He was trying to find out next steps when I ended his call. She had listened to his prior call, so she didn't believe it for a second. She put him on hold while she pulled the call and listened. She then tore him a new a-hole for what he said to me. He tried to say that I was worse, but she cut him off and explained that I'm one of the adjusters in my unit with the highest metrics from customer reviews. I've had my fair share of angry customers and it takes a lot to make me snap, but she stated that his conduct had pushed me to the point of snapping, which she's never seen. She proceeded to tell him that she's enforcing my written contact only rule, as she'd previously encouraged I do that with him anyway, and she stated that if she hears one more call where he's harassing an employee, she will talk with her supervisor to press charges for harassment. Unfortunately, we can't fire him as a customer because he still pays us money, and the executives don't care how we're treated as long as we do get more money. I'm hoping this spurs him to cancel his policy and become somebody else's problem. I asked if there would be any disciplinary action against me for the call. She said, "What call? I don't see any call, and I definitely wouldn't have been able to delete it if the call wasn't recorded," basically covering my ass if the customer tries to escalate above her to her supervisor or something. I sent a copy of the estimate to the shop and I gave them instructions on how they could request more payment from us, and the customer texted to tell me to send payment to them as well. After our call, he called the shop, and apparently they had a massive fight because the customer then texted me and said, "Send payment to me, the shop just pissed me off big time." So I sent the payment to him with his lien holder included, so he has to mail the check to them to endorse and cash before they send him a new check, and of course it won't be overnighted but by standard USPS mail both ways. I got to shut the claim, but I still don't think this is the last time I'll be hearing from this guy. I'll provide more updates as they come, but thankfully I don't actually have to talk with him again. Thank you again for all the support on this. It's nice to know I'm not crazy or expected to be a doormat. Oh my god, that's unbelievable. I'm so sorry that you've had to deal with this, OP. You've done such a good job dealing with it though. You've handled it super well, and it's so awesome that you stood up for yourself. Yeah, wow, some people can be revolting, and we read revolting stuff every day, but sometimes it's on a whole new level. A lady majorly breaches sauna etiquette during peak hour. The gym I go to has a recovery area containing a sauna and steam room that have both been shut since Christmas Eve until Monday for renovations and maintenance. The sauna's not very big and has 3-tiered benches that are all L-shaped. Yesterday evening after my workout during the afternoon peak, I went to use the sauna. I open the door and I step in and the sauna is almost entirely full. There's a 50-year-old lady lying down on her back on top of the row with her hands fully extended behind her. She was taking up the space that about 5 people could fit into. There were only 2 spots left on the bottom row for me to sit down in, and the other spot is quickly taken and a couple more people come in, and they have to stand on the small amount of floor in the room. After about 10 minutes with multiple people leaving and entering, but the sauna still staying consistently at capacity, the lady finally sits up and quite rudely tells a group of guys on the benches below her to move so she can leave. This lady gets down to the ground, walks over to the door, pauses, farts, and opens it and leaves. Wow, is this a TV show? The group of guys went off. Apparently this lady had been asked multiple times to sit up so other people could be in the top row, and she refused each time. She then got quite snippy, saying that she was there first so she didn't have to move. Yeah, that's not how that works. And then completely ignored any further attempts of people politely asking her to make room. Taking up more space than you need when a sauna is at full capacity is already kind of crappy, but intentionally letting it rip in a hot, stuffy and cramped room full of people, I'm still pissed off about it today. Who does that? Yeah, that's so comical, but at the same time so revolting. And yeah, that's right, you're in a sauna. It would be so hot and gross. The top comment says, "There's certainly a whiff of entitlement there." Oh yeah, 100%. And I feel like that's definitely enough for today, guys. Let's read something that isn't infuriating. This was my second family in 4th grade. I went with them to take family pictures and they told me to hop in. Oh, that is so beautiful. It would be so cool if you could do an updated version of this and recreate this picture now. Well, speaking of, my dad and brother brother recreated this photo 28 years later. Wow, that's so beautiful. And that's the same truck, I'm assuming. Is it the same? Yeah, it must be the same. God, that's so cute. I texted my mum that I was having a hard week and she called me and sang, "You are my sunshine," even though her whole office could hear her. I don't deserve her. Wow, that's so beautiful. So they send you like a clip of them singing or something, and they're singing at their work. What a legend. That's so nice. And on that beautiful note, thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you had a wonderful time. And if you did and you want to see more episodes like this, make sure you like and subscribe. And the comment of the day today goes to T Hanks 2616. Vincey, we need more of these wholesome videos. They brighten my day. Yeah, we absolutely do. And don't worry, I'm already working on some new episodes. I want to make sure we do a lot more wholesome episodes and a lot more Tumblr episodes and a lot more funny tweets episodes. Just a whole bunch of fun, light-hearted sort of stuff. So yeah, thank you for the support and I'm glad you enjoyed those episodes too. Okay, I'm out of here. Thanks again for all your support, guys. Make sure you look after yourself and make sure you have a beautiful, amazing rest of your day. And you know what I'm about to say because I say it every single day. Bye!